Hi everybody, this is Harsh Maskara from Immortal Tortoise. I made a short video yesterday outlining the reason for the change in focus or the narrowing down of focus of my channel's content from overall health to mental health, right? And by mental health, I mentioned disorders such as bipolar, depression, ADHD, anxiety, autism, dementia, etc. Right. In this video, I would like to share my story in detail because I had mentioned in the video also that I am a bipolar 1 survivor, right? So, what really is bipolar, especially bipolar 1? What causes it? How can it be treated? And what are the symptoms of this condition, right? So, let's deep dive, and I can confidently say from my personal experience that I have a fairly reasonably accurate perspective on this condition and what it entails, right? Okay. So, what were the symptoms of bipolar which I wasn't aware of at that time, right? Lack of sleep, right? There was a time in my life where I was running a lot. I was running 10 kilometers a day and I was running barefoot for a lot. I ran six half marathons. A majority of them run purely barefoot. I would not eat anything before running. I would not eat or drink anything during the run and all of that, which is not advisable. I now realize that, right? So I used to run a lot, and I was in Mumbai at that time, staying by myself, and I hardly met my any of my school friends or college friends during that time, and I was basically living by myself, running twice a day at times, cooking my own food, not putting in salt, also not using oil, also. And I was on a vegan and gluten-free diet, so I was pushing my body to the limits because I was not intaking enough protein, enough enough healthy fats, and even enough carbohydrate to ensure that it kept pace with my exertion levels, right? So anyhow, the first symptom of bipolar disorder is lack of sleep, right? I would wake up at like in the wee hours of the morning. Like in Mumbai, the sun anyways rises late, but I would wake up with the sound of the birds chirping at 4 a.m. after having slept at 10 or 11 a.m., 9 a.m. at 9, 10, 11 p.m. or 9 p.m. at times. So while I was getting like 5, 6 hours of sleep, that is not enough, right? You need to get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep, proper sleep, for you to be rejuvenated enough and for your body to repair the cells that have been damaged or need care and attention because of your exertion levels, right? So lack of sleep is one symptom of bipolar disorder, right? Right. Then the other symptom is of having racing thoughts, right? That you have a mind full of ideas, which is going from one point to another point to a third point, almost like what particles you see in Brownian motion, right? Like there is a zigzag kind of pattern in your thoughts, but they are just going through your mind at a dizzying pace, and you have no control over it, right? So that is another symptom of bipolar disorder, right? The other thing is that you talk a lot, either to yourself or to people around you. You engage in excessive talk and conversations. You feel like calling up people, talking to them, connecting with them, because there is this feeling that I need to share information or I need to connect with people, right? Or you might be writing excessively online on Facebook or on other social media platforms, documenting your thoughts through the night because you can't sleep, right? So these are the symptoms of bipolar disorder, right? Coming to another area which is of great mystery, it almost seems, is what causes bipolar disorder, right? So the jury is out on this because some people say it's genetic, some people say it's because of stress, some people say it's because of work environment problems, some people say it's because of relationship problems, right? In my case, I think it came about because I was pushing my body to the limit through my running, right? As I said, I wasn't taking in the correct nutrients. My diet was extremely uh, extreme, to put it mildly, right? Vegan, gluten free, no oil, etc., and all of that. Yeah. So these are the reasons why bipolar happened in my case, right? But it is genetic, and I've been told by my current psychiatrist that bipolar people who have children have 25% chance of having a child who has bipolar. So it can also be within the family, right? So in my case, there isn't a documented case of a person having bipolar disorder, but without taking any names, I can see that there are certain people in my family who do have undiagnosed cases of bipolar, right? In fact, I would go out on a limb and say that people with diabetes, a lot of them are actually bipolar people who have not been diagnosed, and they have tried to overcome the condition by eating junk, by eating extra food, by indulging in sweets, by not following the proper dietary protocols, by not exercising enough. So their diabetes basically covers up their mental health disorder of bipolar, right? The other interesting thing, which I don't think people know enough about or talk enough about, is the fact that psychologists have come up with a term called highly sensitive people, right? As the term indicates, these are people who are highly sensitive or can be influenced by their surroundings, whether it be plants and trees, people, or what we call the vibe in a room, right? So these people are very sensitive to the conditions around themselves, right? So what happens in bipolar also, or what happens to diabetics also probably, is that they get so overwhelmed by the energy around themselves that they resort to extreme activities like what I did, or they take to indulging in food and late night snacking, right? Eating junk. So these are some of the reasons why bipolar happens, right? What is the way forward? That is the main problem that bipolar people encounter, right? Because you have to find a psychiatrist who empathizes with you and puts you on the right dosage, because there is no cure for bipolar. It is a lifelong condition and you need to be on medication throughout your life. It is encouraged to have therapy sessions with bipolar, which I did in Mumbai after a long gap of being diagnosed with bipolar, and that really helped me out, because you have to talk it out and go through your issues, address your issues with somebody who is empathetic, understanding, intelligent, and knowledgeable enough to help you out. So my therapy sessions helped me to no end, right? But the other important thing which people neglect is food and exercise. Food and exercise and creativity are the three best medicines for bipolar disorder. If you can find your creativity tool, whether it be writing, painting, music, singing, dancing, whatever it is, and you indulge or you throw yourself into it, then that can help you to a large extent. Food, people are brought up in different households according to different cultures, family cultures, religious cultures, ethnic cultures, right? But you need to have the right amount of protein, you need to have the right amount of healthy fats, you need to have the right amount of carbohydrates. That is something which you have to figure out for yourself as to what works for you, and that is extremely important, right? So food, exercise, arts, and medication, these are the main areas through which bipolar disorder can be treated and needs to be looked at for it to actually be stabilized and for a person with bipolar disorder to thrive with it. These are my experiences as somebody with bipolar 1, which is a form of bipolar, most severe form of bipolar, where you have extreme mania, which I have experienced on many occasions, but not like I had one and only manic episode for which I was in the hospital for 5-6 days, for which I have no memory, right? So that's my take on bipolar 1. I will be having guests on my show, and some of them might prefer to remain anonymous because of the social stigma associated with mental health. And we will take the discussion forward with them to understand how their experience has been, whether it be bipolar, depression, autism, anxiety, ADHD, whatever it is, whether it's them or their children. So look forward to you guys joining me on those videos, and I hope that you spread the word. Thank you so much.